Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Carolyn Amalinde Baguma, and I'm the Community Program Manager supporting our city coordinators in our host cities. We are so excited to be launching the community program to the people of Leicester, and we're here to share our plans for the community program in your city. And if you don't know already, the World Reimagined is a groundbreaking art education program exploring our shared history around the transatlantic enslavement of African people. The Go Trails will take place between August and October this year. Thanks to Leicester City Council, as well as our presenting partners Sky, we are creating a moment for change and growth. So over the next 15 minutes or so, I will introduce you to the rest of the team. You'll hear a little bit more about the journey of discovery from Chantel. Then Dennis will share the artistic program before hearing from Esther about the heritage program, and then back to our coordinator to hear about the Inspire program. Now we have an opportunity for Q&A at the end, so please do go ahead and share any questions you have in the chat. And before I introduce the team, please do make sure you share your name and organization in the chat. And if you do need captioning, please click the buttons at the bottom of the screen to activate transcriptions. You will also find our socials on our emails and in-person information in the chat, so keep an eye on the chat basically. So I would like to invite the team to join me on screen, but before they do, I would like to share why I chose to join the World Reimagined. I'm particularly passionate about developing and facilitating engaging learning environments, and as an artist, I find that art is one of the best intervention tools, and the World Reimagined has used that in so many different ways. So it's amazing to be here. So I would like to invite the team to introduce themselves. So starting with Chantel.
Hi everyone, I'm Chantel and I'm working in partnerships at the World Reimagined. The reason why I, took on this role at the World Reimagined is, after 10 years teaching and working in schools, I just realized that the ways in which we teach this shared history hasn't really developed so much, and being able to have this opportunity to work with an organization which was very much centered around having those very brave conversations in public and in schools and in communities was really, really important to me. And also I'm a lover of art. So, the whole idea around social justice and racial justice and art and education just seemed perfect for me.
Thank you, Chantel. Could I have Esther introduce herself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Esther Carew. I'm the Heritage Lead. I'm from Birmingham, so just down the road from Leicester, and I grew up there in the 80s. So I was part of this multicultural city, this multicultural world, but my learning in school wasn't multicultural. It was quite narrow in focus, and I didn't really see myself in a lot of the history that I learned at school. And I have, as an adult, started self-learning, self-teaching about different aspects of what British history is and what British history means and what my history is. And I just think that it's really important for everyone, but particularly young people, to be able to see and learn about themselves and see themselves reflected in the stories and the histories of the world. And that's one of the aspects that really appealed to me about joining the World Reimagined team and working in the heritage sector as a whole.
Thank you, Esther. Could I invite Saha to introduce herself?
Hi, I'm Sahar Bayad, and I am the Communications and Marketing Manager. And my background is actually art history. And one of the many reasons why I wanted to get involved with this project is because I believe that art is such an incredibly strong vehicle to bridge that gap between our history and between demonstrating so many the complexities and the nuances, that is around us. And art has that ability to really make it accessible for everyone to understand this history, the subject matter. And I'm looking forward to really elevating the work that the people of Leicester are doing. And, some of the unheralded work that our communities are doing. So I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you so much, Saha. And can I ask Tara to introduce herself?
Hi, I think most of you know me already. I'm Tara. I run Opal 22, which is an organisation that basically does pretty much what the World Imagination does, but on a smaller scale. So I've personally worked within the museum sector for a number of years now, working quite closely with Leicester museums and arts galleries. I have also developed quite a history of developing projects around Black heritage and Black history through the organisation that I work for, and this project just, I mean, I couldn't kind of walk away from it, to be fair. This is everything, the ethos that we work with, that I like to work through, and to be able to help out and kind of progress this narrative throughout Leicester was just something that I felt was really important for me to do at this point.
Thank you very much, Tara. And I think we all feel the same. We couldn't just walk away from this opportunity. And now I'd like to invite Dennis to join us, introduce himself, and a little bit more about the vision of the World Reimagined.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've been talking with Leicester Council since last summer, and we're so excited to have worked and so grateful to have worked so closely with them in terms of bringing the World Reimagined to Leicester. So really excited to be working to make it happen with Tara and with the entire team and with you all in the coming weeks and months. So first of all, strong caveat in place, I'm afraid. My 4-year-old is just having dinner. He could walk in at any moment. It's quite possible, it's quite likely, it's happened on other calls. So just caveat in place, it may well happen. So I just wanted to share the origin story, as it were, of the World Reimagined with you, so you can, so you know where it's coming from, what the thinking behind it is, and the intent behind it is, most importantly. So the World Reimagined, the story begins when I met my co-founder, Michelle Gale, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, which she would love to have been here. And you might know Michelle as an actor, singer, currently Hermione in Harry Potter in the West End. And Michelle and I met in 2018 at an event that my wife and I hosted for Nelson Mandela Centenary in July 2018. And the event was with Andrew Mangeni. You might be able to see it over my shoulder there. And Andrew was on trial and in prison with Madiba for 26 years. And he was just the most stunningly beautiful human being you can imagine. And Andrew, that night talked about his life, but he also talked about this idea that our reality is created by the decisions that we make every single day in every part of our lives, whether it's with our families, whether it's in our workplaces, whether it's in our councils and our governments, but also where it's in our communities. And those decisions themselves are shaped by what we understand about the world, what we understand about how we came to be here, about how we're connected to one another, what's possible, what's not possible, our power to change things. And Andrew talked about that obviously in the context of the anti-apartheid movement and how they thought about a free South Africa. And then Michelle and I talked about, well, if you think about how you make racial equality a reality in this country, and the decision it's going to take all of us to get there, then how do we think about our shared understanding, our understanding of how we came to be here, our understanding of our shared history? And, I think as you sort of seen with the team, same was for Michelle and I in that conversation, we brought all of our experiences and our stories to that, and Michelle brought to that conversation her background as a Black woman in the public eye for 25, 30 years. Her mum was a community activist in North London for decades. Her family came to the UK from Jamaica. And I brought to that conversation my background, which is that I'm half German, half South African. And those societies have had to do a lot of work. And I was very fortunate because my granddad was Nelson Mandela's accountant back in the 50s and 60s. In fact, he was accountant to the law firm Mandela and Tambo. And so I had the great privilege and honor of like meeting all these incredible people growing up in the 90s, and you know, people like Walter Sisulu and Ahmed Kathrada and Dennis Goldberg and so many others. And you know, I would sit on the floor while people talked about ideas like truth and reconciliation, about the importance of processing pain and trauma, you know, if we're going to be able to move forward, you know, and listening to families talk about, like listening to my family talk about those concepts. And Germany and South Africa both really tried to do that work. They've done it imperfectly, but they've really tried to do it. And then, you know, you come to the UK, which is what, you know, which is where I've grown up, and we haven't so much done that work. You know, I went through the English school system, and all I ever learned about the transatlantic trade and enslaved Africans was that William Wilberforce was a nice white guy who ended it. And if that's the limit of our understanding, then our ability to change is also going to be limited. So that's what Michelle and I talked about, which is, this isn't about discovering new stuff. The scholarship is there. You know, there's incredible scholarship and knowledge in this space, incredible expertise. It's how do we share that with more people? How do we give more people the opportunity to, you know, build that understanding and develop that knowledge and take action, invite them into the conversation? And how do we do that without finger pointing and blame, but in the spirit of that great Maya Angelou quote that says, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you can do better. So how do we extend that invitation to people and say, you're invited and you've got a role to play? And how do we do that in a way that honors and celebrates and shares the incredible work of the community organizations who've been doing this work day in, day out for decades, often unheralded, often unsupported? And how can we do that in a way that this is a moment where, you know, we can support them and we can honor them? And that's what Michelle and I talked about for a good year. And that's where the origin of the World Reimagined came from. And then we came across Sculptor Trails, you know, which was really about the power of art to create dialogue and conversation. And that's the space that we're hoping to create with the World Reimagined, of conversation, of dialogue, of compassion, and hopefully a bit of inspiration as well. So that's the program you're going to hear about tonight.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you all for sharing. It's so inspiring. It's always inspiring to hear how we all got to this place. So now I'd like to hand over to Chantel to share the framework that really drives the incredible journey that we want to go on, the journey of discovery.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to take you through our journey of discovery, and there are 9 themes in the journey, and they're at the core of everything that we do at the World Reimagined. Our first theme is Mother Africa, and this shares the richness of the African continent before the transatlantic slave trade. We just became aware that far too often when the history of this continent is addressed, it usually starts at the transatlantic slave trade. And we really wanted to start at the beginning to, you know, really honor the continent's rich history and all of its influences on the world, from culture to fashion to art, science, philosophy, architecture, you name it. Then our second theme is the reality of being enslaved. And this makes real the experiences of the enslaved African people, from their capture to their voyage through the Middle Passage, and then everything after. Our third theme is Stolen Legacy, Rebirth of a Nation. And this one explains how Britain built its power, its influence, and its wealth on the work of the enslaved. You know, something that we can see across so many parts of British society today, especially when we consider the church, universities, and the bank. Then the fourth theme is abolition and emancipation. Now, of course, you know, this is about sharing the heroes and the allies, but it also explores the more complex motivations behind abolition and the difficult reality of emancipation once people are freed. You know, it's moving beyond just naming pioneers and starting to consider and probe at those really important questions like, you know, the whys, hows, and you know, what after. Then our fifth theme is the complex triangle. And this looks at Britain's more complicated relationship with the African continent, with the Caribbean and with the Americas. So, you know, a good example of this is something like Windrush, when we consider, you know, people from the Commonwealth who were invited to the UK to contribute to British society, which they did. And then decades later, those same people deported and rejected and just really made to feel unwelcome in their own home. Then our sixth theme is Echoes in the Present. And this shares the behavioral, the psychological, and the systemic inequalities that are experienced every day. So all of those things that are direct consequence of the trade and of this history. And, you know, whilst there will be people who will say leave the past in the past, this theme very clearly shows us that this past directly shapes our present, and something not only to acknowledge, but also to address. Then our seventh theme is Still We Rise, and Still We Rise recognizes those who resisted. It also honors the descendants of the enslaved who have succeeded, breaking new ground in every walk of life, which leads us really nicely into our eighth theme, which is Expanding Soul. And Expanding Soul is a theme all about celebration. It celebrates a huge cultural impact of the African diaspora across the world. It's a theme about joy and vibrancy and the diversity that's expressed in all forms of art. Then our final theme is Reimagine the Future. So with this, we wanted to really consider the fact that, you know, we would have now gone on this journey together, acknowledge this history, and most importantly, acknowledge each other. You know, with this theme, we want to ask the really important questions like, what is the future we can create together? And how can we create a future where there is racial justice and equality? So, you know, with our journey of discovery, we like to take you right to the beginning and then together explore our shared yet complex history before, most importantly, departing at a point of celebration, a point of hope and optimism where we're looking forward into the future. And that's our journey of discovery, and I'll pass back to you, Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Chantel. The journey of discovery is really the foundation of all that we do, so it's great to hear it explained. Now, before I invite Dennis to come back on and share about the artistic program, I would like to remind you that you can add any questions that you have in the chat box and we will answer them at the end. But Dennis, take it away.
Fabulous, thank you. So our artistic director, Ashley Shaw-Scott-Adjay, sends her apologies. She's traveling at the moment. She would love to have been here with us. So she's asked me to speak on her behalf. So if you can, you know, so I'll share about the artistic program. I just, you know, imagine there's a good dose more inspiration on there. And that, to be honest, I wish I had what Chantel had, which is, you know, a choir of birds singing in the background, which is a delightful thing when you're presenting. So our artistic program is all about creating this trail of globe sculptures that's going to be in Leicester from August to October this year. It's going to be alongside Leicester. We're going to be in Birmingham, we're going to be in Bristol, we're going to be in Leeds, we're going to be in Liverpool City region, we're going to be in London and in Swansea. So let me show you what our globes look like as I try some technical wizardry. So hopefully you'll be able to see my screen. And what you'll be able to see is our globe, which has been designed by our founding artist, Yinka Shonibare, who's a British-Nigerian artist who's done incredible work and, you know, is renowned internationally for his work exploring cultural connection, history, issues of racial justice. And Yinka gave the globe as our base sculpture shape because he wanted to speak to the geography of the transatlantic trade and enslaved Africans, but he also wanted to give artists the biggest possible canvas to respond to the themes that Chantel just shared. So just to talk about the globe for one moment. So what you can see here, that globe is about 1.8, 1.9 meters in height, and it's about 1.4 meters in diameter. All of the globes are the same shape. And what you can see here is Yinka's design for his globe, which he called the World Reimagined. And it's from that idea that he shared, and that title he shared, that the entire project took its name, because it captured so perfectly, you know, how we wanted people to consider both our shared history, but also the future that we can create together. Now, not all of the globes are going to have maps. That was Yinka's choice for his design. So it's a blank globe canvas. And the trail in Leicester is going to feature 10 of these globe sculptures, one for each of the 9 themes of the journey of discovery. that Chantel just shared. And then another one where we're commissioning an artist to work with local communities to create a globe that really powerfully speaks to place. It speaks to your voice, your experience, your hopes for the future. So we're really excited about, the fact that this trail will share our history, but will hopefully also feel incredibly relevant and resonant to the people and to the communities of Leicester and their specific experience as well. Now, across the country, we've got 101 of these globe sculptures being created, and the artistic programs bring together sort of a number of groupings of artists, as it were. So alongside Yinka's founding artists, we have a group of principal artists. So these are artists who are incredibly well-known and recognized and have exhibited internationally and have often worked in this, to this theme, to the subject before. So people like Laquena McIver, Kamathi Donko, Nicola Green. So we're really excited about the incredible talent and vision and experience that they're bringing to the trails. Alongside them, we've been supported by Arts Council England to commission 5 artists from the Caribbean to come to the UK for artist residencies, and during which time they're going to also create their own globes, bringing the voice and experience of Bahamas, Barbados, Jamaica, Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago to the World Reimagined and our trails, and the visitor experience of the trails. And then we've got those artist collaborations with communities to make sure that we create that 10th globe that speaks to place and to Leicester's experience. And then we have our open call, where we had hundreds of submissions from across the country, responding to all of the themes, and we're so excited by the response that we had. And those designs are being looked at by our jury that features alongside Ashley, the Tara Prize winner Chris O'Feely, Zoe Whitley, the director of the Chisenhale Gallery, René Musai, the senior curator at Autograph, and Professor Matthew Smith, who is the director of the Centre for the Study of the Legacy of British Slavery at UCL. So we're really excited about the quality and the body of work that that these globes represent, and the visual language they'll help us, to enter into conversation around all the shared history and our shared future. On the base of the globe that you would have seen when I showed just now, you'll be able to see a QR code, and you'll be able to scan the QR code, which will take you through to our website digital platform, where you'll be able to find out what the artist was intending to do, and as well as about the artist, as well find out where the next globe is. And you'll also be able to see different elements of our program, including the learning globes, which are created through our learning program, which I will pass over to Chantel.
So with our learning program, we've approached it in the same way as everything else. We want to do more than just give information. We want to create something that really speaks to our young people, that creates a moment of real meaning for students and schools. Something that makes our young learners think about how they see the world, their place in it, and their power to change things. So we've created an offer to schools that comes in 2 parts. There's classroom resources and leadership in teaching training. Our classroom resources were created together with educators, artists, and historians, subject matter experts, people like Floella Benjamin, Professor Kahindi Andrews, and the cast of the West End's Hamilton. For primary schools, they cover the theme of Mother Africa. And for secondary schools and colleges, they cover all 9 themes of the journey of discovery. Alongside our classroom resources, we also offer the leadership in teaching training, which of course, gives tips on how to use the resources, but it also says to teachers, you're a role model and a leader for racial equality in your school. And here are some really important insights to help you step into that role with confidence. Things like how you think about power and privilege, how you facilitate open dialogue, and how to become more intentional about putting your values into action. And this offer is shared with schools in 2 forms. There's the poetic program, where students respond with poetry and spoken word, which will be shared across our platforms. And this is free to all schools across the UK. And then there's the Globe program, which signed up for closed at the end of March, but that program will see schools across our host cities create their own smaller globes that will feature in their local communities, in places like libraries and shopping centres during the World Reimagined, after which they will be returned to their school as a legacy. And a couple of weeks ago, we had our 250th school sign up to a learning program, which we're really excited about. We're just really looking forward to seeing how, children are able to join in the conversation, not just with their voices, but also with their creativity. So I'm now going to pass over to Esther, who's going to describe our heritage program.
Thanks, Chantal. So, alongside all of our other amazing programs of work, my main focus is around sharing these stories and histories across those 9 themes and making them publicly accessible as people explore the globe trails. So, back when I studied history quite a long time ago, you're always told to question those primary resources. And it's really important to think also about where those sources come from, if they only come from one place, or if they're only showing sort of a particular version of an argument. So what we want to do with this program is really ignite people's curiosity and passion, and really get them thinking about stories that they might not have heard before, and make sure that we are getting this really broad picture from a wide range of voices, and it really explore this kind of underexplored area of heritage and history. So our programme is supported by the Natural Lottery Heritage Fund, and so we're planning on building the Journey of Discovery online collection, which will be a comprehensive amalgamation of stories. We're hoping to get roughly 100 from each of the host cities, so 100 stories from across Leicester, and we want to work with heritage and cultural partners to really highlight and educate people on those connections and those histories that might have been lost or obscured or even erased, but also really bring to light, as people have said so far, projects that have already happened, work that's already been done, exhibitions and projects that are inspired by things that have already happened and things that are happening within your communities, and share those tales of local residents, of heroes, of people who visited the city, as well as those sites of history and sites of interest and heritage that can come out from archives and museums. So we really want to build on work that's been done around the city and make those shareable with the public, but also shareable with you, so that we really can go with confidence out of this and have people really understand what it is, this part of British history, and learn something and be really exciting to learn something new. So I'm going to pass back now to Carolyn to talk about community again.
Thank you so much. It's always really interesting to hear about the Heritage Programme, because it's so important to capture those local stories and drive the impact and legacy. So thank you so much for that. So it's really important for us to share all the different strands. I think it makes it clear how we plan to engage all members of society in this journey. And I believe that, this is a journey that we're all taking together. And that leads to the most important part, I think the part that you all hear from, for the part to learn about the community programme. So the community programme really sits at the core of the World Reimagined. We described the other pieces of the World Reimagined first because we wanted to give you the full content in which the community programme sits. And I want to be clear that it's not about a community programme, that's about what we do, but about how we honour what you do. After all, the entire point of the World Reimagined is to create a moment and a platform that honours the countless people and organisations that do the work of making racial equality a reality, and to support those organisations to continue their work and to share it with more people. And so we developed the Inspire programme, which invites you to host activities and events during the World Reimagined from August to October, which speak to our shared mission and that we can showcase and promote far and wide. And we chose the word inspire deliberately, but it's not about us, it's about you and the work that you do. So for those long committed to work of racial justice, you inspire us with your expertise, commitment and impact. And for those new to the mission and the subject, you inspire us with your openness and desire to step into the work and to contribute. Together you show us that progress is possible, hard, but possible. And with the backing of Esme Fairburn Foundation, we are excited to have been able to appoint Tara to be our community coordinator. And I'm very excited to hand over to Tara to be able to share more about the Inspire program and how we'll be working with you over the coming weeks and months. Take it away, Tara.
Hi. Right, so let's talk about how we support you. Let me begin by starting with where we want to get to. And as hundreds and thousands of visitors go through the trail and say, should I say, I want to do something, or I want to learn more. I want to be able to connect them with you guys. To be able to say, there's an amazing organization over there and you can connect with them in this way, or have you seen the event, an event you want to go to? We can kind of put you in contact with those. If we make an effective connection to promote your work, we hope that this will mean that you grow your audience, your network and support base to reach more people, which will have a lasting impact. That's why we hope that you'll host events and activities during the trail period of August and to October. And we can celebrate and promote them for you. They don't have to be new events. They can be events that you've already planned, but they don't have to, they can be new ones, but they don't have to be. You're doing these things anyway, so we just want to support you and share the work with more people. So let's make it real. There are 3 ways that we can support you. The first way is money. We have a grant pot of £8,000 for Leicester, and this is to support, and this is to support you to host the events and activities of the World Reimagined. Within that, we have 3 partnership grants of £3,000. These are for partnerships that either, 1, bring together smaller organisations and grassroots organisations with the larger organisations to connect audiences and support the growth of the smaller organisations. Or 2, bring together the organisations doing racially justice work already with the ones that are new to it, to broaden out the people that are involved in this work and share expertise. In addition to these partnerships, we have multiple micro grants of up to £500. I think they go from £250 to £500. And these are to make hosting the events a little easier and more possible. Applying for the grants is, of course, open to anybody, but we can only select a particular number that we'll be able to offer the grants to. We've worked to make the application process as easy as possible. And we've worked with Leicester City Council to identify other funding opportunities that you can apply to as well, in case you've not selected for the grants that we can offer. The second way we can support you is through workshops. Every second Tuesday, starting from yesterday, we'll be holding online workshops for community organisations across the host cities. Most of them will focus on skill-based topics, with a range of people talking about topics including applying for grants, using creativity in your community engagement, welcoming new audiences, and engaging allyship, and taking care of your mental health. Some sessions will also be about just connecting communities, organisations across the countries, sharing your experiences, your expertise, and just getting to know each other. There's incredible solidarity and strength in our shared missions. And we know it's often hard to connect. These online workshops are going to be open to anyone. Alongside these workshops, every 2 weeks, I'm also going to be hosting a monthly in-person workshop. in which we come together and share ideas to connect and to work out how we can make the world reimagined the biggest possible opportunity for you. The third way that we can support is through promotions. You'll be able to submit your events to us, and we'll put it as a list that we'll put on our digital platforms. We then promote the trail visitors, to the trail visitors across our channels. This will hopefully help you grow your audiences and support bases. This is open to anybody. You don't have to hold an event. And this is, it just has to be in the spirit of the World Reimagined. You won't need to have received any commission or take part in any workshops. We want to share and celebrate the full breadth of work that people are doing for racial justice. And so these are the three ways that we can support. It's money, it's workshops, and it's promotions. We hope the organisations across Leicester will host their events and activities, and we can share and celebrate and grow the community of people who are involved in the conversation and work of racial justice long into the future. That's the Inspire programme. But that's not all. It's important for us that the community is at the heart of every part of World Reimagined. You've already heard about the community globe. That will be the 10th globe on the trail. But we also work over the next year. We'll also be doing work over the next year, connecting community organisations with our heritage partners, with our schools, and with our corporate partners, so that the relationships we've built during the World Reimagined benefit you in the long run. And that also speaks to what happens after the trail leaves the streets of Leicester. First of all, the community groups will be gifted to the people of Leicester as a lasting legacy. We're working with the council to make sure that this is done in a way that it stays accessible. The majority of the globes will then be going on auction. This is a bit I like. The money raised will go to making sure our learning programme and Journey of Discovery to History collections stay accessible. But the majority will go to creating what we hope will be a 6-figure grant-making programme for racial justice projects and organisations across our host cities. So you'll be able to apply for that in as early as 2023. So we hope that whether it's in support or with connections to the hundreds and thousands of visitors on the trail, or in the long-term grant making, we are working to raise, we hope that you'll see the opportunity and something exciting in the World Reimagined for you. So that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Tara. It's a really big project and a really big ambitious project, but we're really excited to be able to share what we will be doing. Right, now we are opening up the floor to some questions that you may have for the whole team. And if you did start late, or if you did join us late, this event will be available to view on our YouTube channel, so don't worry, don't miss out, and please do share it with anybody who is interested in getting involved with the World Reimagined. We will also be putting links in the chat, so please do follow us. If you want to keep an eye on what's happening, especially with the community events, you can go to the World Reimagined /what's going on to see all the events across our host cities, as well as our Inspire events, which launched last night. Don't know if any of you got a chance to join us, but we had a really lovely workshop with Ashley, the artistic director, and Keisha, the learning program manager, as well as one of our community partners, to explore the power of creative engagement. That too is going to be available on YouTube, so please do check it out, and we will be doing more of those across the year, so another opportunity to connect with anyone. So now I'm just going to have a little look to see if any questions have come up. Is there any in the chat? Anything at all that you would like to ask the team? So one of the questions is, who is eligible for the micro grants? So the micro grants, anybody can apply. It could be a grassroots organization, a volunteer, a sole trader. It is really an additional fund to support any event that you might already have planned. We know that especially around Black History Month, there's always some great calendar of event plans. So if you do have an event in that time and you'd like to get some more money, you can apply for the micro grant. And obviously same applies for the partnership grant, but this is really an opportunity to connect organizations that might not have had a chance to work with each other. Just going to check the chat, see if there's anything else that comes up. What sort of concepts are involved in creative engagement? So this is a question from Tony. Maybe you could expand on that, Tony. What would you like to know specifically? What kind of concepts in terms of for the arts team, for the community team, who specifically? That would be really great. Just think if there's anything else that comes up. What is a process for applying for grants? The process is you'll be able to apply on our community portal or page, and you can apply for the grants on there. You can also submit videos if you would like a more accessible form of applying. And then applications open on the 1st of May and close on the 31st, and we will be informing successful awardees by the 24th of June. I hope that answers that question. So in terms of the question regarding the creative engagement, this is something I think obviously falls for the arts team. So maybe Dennis would like to come into the mix and share a little bit more.
Sure. I'm afraid, so in terms of creating the globes, our commissioning process will draw to a close. So in terms of designing globes, that won't unfortunately be an opportunity moving forward. But what we hope through the community program and the Inspire program that Tara outlined, whether it's micro grants or whether it's partnership grants, that organizations who are creative in almost any which way have that. It's happening, everybody. This is very exciting. Hello. I knew it would happen. Cameo. Meet Theo. What we hope is that any organization of creativity, of art, responds and engages with the themes of the journey of discovery, whether it is building your own Duplo toys or whichever which way, because what we want to try and do is to make sure that we have dialogues and conversations that connect really meaningfully for people, and obviously art does that. So whether you are a creative organization that hasn't worked in this space before, it might be that you might want to or address these subjects before. You might want to connect with an organization that does work in the space but might not necessarily have that creative or artistic practice within its engagement on a regular basis. So we hope that the World Reimagined can be a space of bringing together some really exciting and creative and inspiring partnerships. There we go.
Thank you very much for that. And I would say definitely please do check out our Inspire, a pilot series of Inspire, because this is the conversation we were having, and we were really looking at it from the program planning aspect, from the education and facilitator aspect, and as well as a community partner, and really how you can use creative engagement in your planning. So maybe you will get some insight on concepts from there. Can schools still sign up? I think Chantal, you might have to let them know what this one's about.
Yeah, so with regards to the question around school signing up, absolutely, they can still sign up for the Poetic program. The Globe program, sign up for that did close at the end of March, but the Poetic program is still free and still accessible. And once schools sign up for that, they also get access to all of the learning resources and the leadership in teaching training. So yeah, of course, sign up.
Thank you very much. Any other questions coming through? We will, if you would like, we will be sharing follow-ups to everybody who attended with the videos, with some useful links. So we'll make sure to get any information. And obviously, if we don't get to answer any of your questions while we are here, we will be happy to answer them offline. Any? And Tara will follow up with you tomorrow. I don't think I see any more questions coming up in the chat. Lorraine, have you followed up? Just looking. Bear with. So how and where? Lorraine would like to know how and where they can sign up.
Yeah, I can tell you that. So the how and where is on our website. If you go to the learning page, and there's a link to the learning homepage where you can then sign up directly on the website for the purchase program, which creates an account for you, which means that you can then directly access all the resources and leadership and teaching masterclasses from Monday.
Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much it for questions. Please do make sure that you connect with Tara at her first in-person event. Tara, would you like to share the details of your in-person event that's coming up?
Okay, you put me on hot seat again. It's the 4th of May at 7 p.m. at the African Caribbean Centre.
Yeah.
Please come. Let's kind of get the conversation going. Let's see where we can move forward and see how we can make the links. Get in contact with me for anything. If you think there's a partnership that you want to kind of see, you might be interested in working towards. I'm really interested in putting people together that really wouldn't normally link up, but let's have the conversation. Let's be as wacky as possible and really try and get some interesting connections and sharing goals and achievements. And I'm really looking forward to what we can come up with on this. So help us out.
Thank you so much. I think this is a good time to share the World Reimagined program. What do you think, Dennis? Excellent.
In order to reimagine something, you need to understand what it is first. I thought the world was equivalent to the earth. But when you check the definition, the world means all of human activity. It's not about the physical globe, but about the physical nature of humanity. I guess that's where I've been going wrong. I've been trying to reimagine the world on my own, but it doesn't belong to me. You're not an ink drop on this lonely narrator's tongue. If I close my eyes this time, will you promise to come with me? You see, a dream is like a cloud, it's deceptively heavy. The imagination is far too vast for one person to explore. So come with me, whilst I try to reimagine once more. To reimagine means to take a mental picture, to take something that exists and put it in a different context, like a Benin bronze in a British Museum cabinet. See, I don't really want to make mistakes of the past. I want to make compost of inherited hate, and circular debates frustrate my fears until they're surpassed. So I guess that's where the re-bit comes in. Re means to go backwards and start again. For too long, we've been singing a song of denial and discomfort, tonsils thronging with the discordant sounds of a legacy gone wrong. We all make mistakes, but when you make a wrong turn, you can't keep driving straight, looking for change. So put me off. I won't be fueled by misguided pride and polished shame. I can no longer close my eyes when there's so much work to do. Put the nose back on the Sphinx. Take the myth out of Timbuktu. I want to reach down the back of the sofa of this society and fish around for all that loose change. Like Aloda Equiano to slavery's abolition. Samuel Coleridge Taylor to the classical music composition. Princess Sophia Duleep Singh to the suffragettes. You don't have to go far to see how easy it is to forget. No wonder my eyes don't want to invest in frivolous fiction when there's so much fact waiting for its recognition. I thought I could fix things by simply asking you to join me in the dark room of humanity, but photography, it's not a row of negatives waiting to be seen. It's about exposing what has already been. To reach the unknown, you have to retrieve, recall, rewild, reinstall, repurpose, repair, go back to the beginning, start again, but now do it with flair. The world reimagined is a lotus bud waiting to unfold. The world reimagined is bubble bath in the hands of a 5-year-old. The world reimagined is our story untold. And telling it won't be easy, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun. We can turn fossils into plectrums, reject all that humdrum stuff fed to us without question. No suggestion that the truth is a spectrum. If you're the Berlin Wall, I'll be the graffiti. If you're a scroll, I'll be the words of Rumi, because there's no song outside of our vocal range. If I set my mind to it, my voice is louder than climate change. So take a step back. Use what's there. Make it new. Duchamp's masterpiece Fountain was an upgraded loo, and it was actually discovered by a baroness called Elsa, to be completely honest with you. Like a Rorschach image, we all start from the same place, then come out with different perspectives, and where we've gone wrong in the past is our failure to respect this. The world reimagined is a gallery of things we were not sold. The world reimagined is a humble alchemist's gold. The world reimagined is our story untold.
And that was the wonderful The World Reimagined poem that was written, narrated by Keisha Thompson, who coincidentally is our learning program manager. And that's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to check out that poem, it's on the first page of our website. If you did miss the first part of this session, please find it on YouTube. It will be uploaded by the end of the week. So please share with your colleagues who didn't have a chance to attend. Thank you so much for joining us to hear about our plans for the Inspire program in Leicester. And we're thankful to Leicester City Council for their support, as well as our presenting partner, Sky. And we cannot, of course, to forget to thank Esme Fairburn for funding the Inspire program. And if you haven't already, please do refer to the chat. We did share our social media, which is the World Reimagined _org for our socials. And you can also go to the website. And if you have any questions that you didn't get a chance to answer in our session, you can always email inspire@theworldreimagined.org, and we will answer those questions offline. Do keep an eye out for some follow-up emails. We'll be sharing any useful information for the upcoming in-person events, and please do sign up and continue connecting us with for the rest of the year. So with that, I'd like to bring the team on to say good night and have a good evening to everybody. Say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.